Yeah, we can start this. Well, if well, yeah, I guess yeah, we can start with.
Yes.
Can you hear me right? I don't know. Can you hear now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here. My name is Alex. I started my actuarial career like 5 years ago at AIG Life and Retirement. That's Corebridge Financial now. And I started as an intern in summer of 2017 during my junior year at UH, Go Cooks. And then returned as a full-time analyst in 2018 after I graduated from UH with BA in mathematics. Currently, I'm ADP actuarial associate on a pension risk transfer pricing team at Corebridge Financial. And I would like to share my experience how I acquired. So then I was a student. I already decided to pursue my career in actuarial science. So I had some kind of plan. So first, I researched companies that provided actuarial with potential of employment. Then I checked requirements for like for those like GPA score requirement, uh, number of past exams, like how many years of attendance, like on any like around like a requirement was like one at least one exam and GPA score like at least 3.2. Also, I checked, I prioritize companies based on company value and culture and opportunity for career development, also based on location and like type of the company. Like I preferred companies or like consulting companies, and I preferred like locals over, but it's like it was my preference. And at the time, financial, like AG at the time, was my like top choice because strong actual development program with 2-year rotation opportunity, so you can learn all the industry and also gain knowledge in insurance as well. After that, I just started like preparation on like how to meet the requirement. I had to pass the exam. Like my first exam was probability. I took math 33, 38 probability course at UH. Was helpful for me, and also to study, I took Ocean Actuaries course, and that was very useful as well. So after the exam in summer 2016, I just started work on building my resume, and building a resume workshop at UH was very beneficial for me and useful. I did. So after that, everything was like prepared. I just applied to all the companies through their sites, and eventually I had 3 phone call interviews and 1 in person at Corebridge Financial. So then I got the internship offer from Corebridge Financial, and like on the last day of full-time position. Then I started my full-time actuarial position. I was on institutional markets valuation team through ADP, actual development program, a rotational program. I just rotated in 2 years to pension risk transfer pricing team. And I believe my next station will be next year. And this is the end of my presentation. And I just like to summarize some key points. If you're interested in science, just do research the companies, pass the exam, at least one exam, prepare effective resume, and apply. And actually, you can skip the first and just apply to Corebridge Financial. Thank you.
So, by word of mouth, I am started at double major. Morehouse, Morehouse College in Atlanta. I had no clue what I was math degree. The only option that I was really aware of was being like a math teacher, and I didn't think that I had the patience for teaching kids, teaching math. Can't do this for the rest of my life. Heard, I think, from one of my classmates about the expert. At that time, I probably not really back then, might have been microfiche searching or something like that. Probably not. But I saw that the actual profession was listed as one of the top careers, top professions in the U.S. And that's still the case for now. And it sounded interesting to me. So I was interested in math. I was interested in money and finance and business. So it seemed like a good I applied for graduate school at Georgia State. Georgia State has a large actuarial science master's program. Oh, I see. Um, hopefully that's right. Okay. Um, so I applied at the same time that I minority and so so began my actuarial career. One summer at New York Life, now Corebridge Financial, and so started my career really for the most part at AIG, and mostly ever since I left for 3 years. But most of my at AIG, now Corebridge. And I guess just for context, we have the playing of Corebridge Financial's listing day. This happened about a month ago. Corebridge Financial, we rung the opening bell as a public. Before we were the life and retirement division. In case you weren't familiar with. That's my background as an actuary. I am a fellow of the Society of Actuaries. I've finished all of my exams. And my role currently is I manage mostly focused on kind of being the bridge between our actuarial group and our chief finance officers group, and so kind of explaining actuarial concepts to the business, to the life insurance business at AIG. So there are a ton of actuarial functions like within our life insurance business, and my group kind of coordinates between them, communicates what they're doing in the life insurance business. So my background, just a bit about Corebridge. I mentioned we're a new company as of a month ago. Though we are a new company, we're not kind of a small startup, very large company, $358 billion of assets under management. We take in $30 billion of premium every year. So really a large company. This in fact was initial public offering in 2022. Alex mentioned that he worked in institutional markets, which on the right-hand side of the screen. So institutional marketing products to large institutions. So selling. So basically like pension, large, I guess, payout annuity type contracts as well. I work in the life insurance business, which life insurance, I'm sure you're probably familiar with. So 4 business units really make up the company. And then kind of some of the functions are listed on the right-hand side of the screen as well. And certainly, and so we operate in the US, the UK, and Ireland is where Corebridge Financial operates. And certainly we're happy to answer any questions that anyone has about Corebridge or about our background after that. So Maggie's online, and I'm gonna let Maggie, so Maggie is the director of our actuarial development program. I'm gonna let her talk a bit about actuarial internship.
Hi, thank you, Brandon. Can everyone hear me?
Can you hear? Oh, they can hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again. Hello, everyone. My name is Maggie Renna, and I'm the manager of the Corebridge Actuarial Development Program. And I'm really excited to speak to you all today, along with Brandon and Alex, to introduce you to Corebridge and in particular our Actuarial Development Program. The audio was going in and out a little bit, so forgive me if I repeat some of the things that Alex or Brandon mentioned, but I just want to make sure that I cover all the great benefits that we have in our ADP. Before I do that, a little bit about me. I came to AIG, which is now Corebridge, in early 2020, and about 3 weeks into my employment, the pandemic hit. And since then, myself and most colleagues have been working remotely with the option to go into the office. Prior to Corebridge, I worked many years at MetLife in various positions, including their actuarial development program. I'm currently sitting in New Jersey and manage the ADP for students in New Jersey, Texas, and California. So this current slide, gives you a nice overview of the Actuarial Summer Internship Program. We offer actuarial interns the opportunity to really get immersed in actuarial work for 10 weeks. So you learn about actuarial principles, how they're applied at Corebridge, and the experience is really invaluable for someone who's considering an actuarial career. After the 10 weeks, you'll definitely know for sure if this is a profession that you want to pursue for the rest of your life. You will be assigned a project and report to an actuary. You'll probably have some smaller assignments that you'll be responsible for as well. and you'll have a buddy to show you the ropes during the time that you're with us. Primarily, the experience is on the job, but it's also supplemented with some technical, soft skills, and senior leader discussions over the course of the summer. Everyone does a presentation at the end of the 10 weeks to discuss what they learned, what they worked on. And that's a presentation that's very well attended by all the other interns, intern managers, buddies, and the broader actuarial community. The internship program is really a pipeline for us in terms of hiring full-time actuarial students upon their college graduation. So you'll see our qualifications, the 3.2 GPA. A lot of our interns are undergrads. We will hire some rising juniors, but most of the candidates are rising seniors, and we also will have some graduate level students. It is required that you pass at least one actuarial exam by March of 2023 in order to be considered. But I will tell you that we are in full swing now as far as recruiting. So if you haven't taken an exam yet, I would really encourage everyone to sit for P or FM in the next several weeks, if you can squeeze it in. Those exams are offered 6 times a year. It's pretty easy to register. I know that you'll get support from your school. Lots of practice exams are out there on the SOA website. And what's nice is that you'll find out right away. You'll get a preliminary pass or fail right after taking the exam. Any questions about the internship program? Okay, Brandon, if you want to move on then, thank you. So continuing on, I wanted to talk a little bit about our eligibility and participation. The ADP students are basically full-time employees working under a credentialed actuary. The expectation is that you'll sit for an exam every exam period, and there are 2 periods per year. The first is January through June. The second is July through December. And we encourage that because we feel that it's really in your best interest to get through the exams as quickly as possible. It is your responsibility to refer to the SOA website for changes to the syllabus and to some extent to become familiar with our ADP manual. However, myself, my team, we're always available to answer questions you may have when it comes to interpretation of ADP policy or maintaining the exam standard. There are really a lot of benefits to being part of the ADP. First, obviously, is the exam support. Every new hire will receive a corporate credit card, which can then be used for purchases like the SOA exam registration fee, for study material, for online seminars, etc. Once you pass an exam or a module, you receive an exam increase. And if you've passed an exam on the first try, you will also get a bonus. The ADP also works with managers to make sure that eligible students are promoted. The process is that we review the entire student population twice a year for eligibility. I think one of the best aspects of our ADP is that it's rotational in nature. So that means that every 2 years you are reassigned to a different part of the organization. We feel that's really important in order to broaden your experience as an actuary and get a feel for different lines of business, who the stakeholders are, what your responsibilities are. And of course, as you're taking exams, the material becomes increasingly difficult, but also increasingly relevant, usually to the assignment that you're in. So you start to really see what you're learning go into practice. And that's really exciting, I think, for our students to see. We also have local program coordinators who offer support by way of giving advice and exam tips to students. They serve as liaisons between the ADP and the student population. Moving on to leadership, the ADP supports and gives guidance towards your attainment of the ASA and FSA designations. You will need to participate in both the APC and the FAC to attain those designations. The CIRA is not required for the ADP. Some people decide to get that designation on their own, which is fine, but not required for my purposes. We pay for your professional membership dues upon your attaining your ASA designation. And we also offer continuing education classes through webcasts, and you'll see various notices come from my team about upcoming webcasts. It's really important for our actuaries to really keep up with changes in the industry and know what's going on. So that's something that we offer to our broader actuarial community. Any questions about anything on this slide? Okay. Then finally, on my last slide, just wanted to cover some additional information that may be of interest to all of you. So Brandon did a great job of putting together some information that will be relevant for you as you begin your employment search. Here are some ways that you can expand your actuarial network and really learn about employment opportunities. So, of course, joining an actuarial club, if there isn't one, starting one, getting involved with GIS, the Gamma Iota Sigma is a really great way to broaden your network and learn about different opportunities in the industry. You can reach out to IABA or OLA or any other organization that supports actuarial development. Of course, attending career fairs, notice the skill set that employers are looking for when you're looking at job descriptions and try to match those skill sets. Try to strengthen your technical skills if you feel that that's an area that you should develop. Take an actuarial exam or two while you're in school. Maybe you can line up the coursework while you're a student. If not, there are lots of resources out there to help you prepare for the exams. So I encourage all of you to sit for at least one exam during the school year. And most importantly, talk to Brandon and Alex today. They're both very approachable. I'm sure they're happy to answer any questions you may have. So definitely take advantage of having them on your campus. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Maggie.
Welcome.
We have time for questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions, please? Sure. Interesting. Okay. No, I mean, certainly. Actually didn't. And I think, once also, statistical, makes it not my thing, but certainly understand insurance. So that's, I think, most just general, like arithmetic. You're expected to be able to do that. To add them. Things. I don't know, Alex, any?
Yeah, from my experience, usually all the tough calculations are already input in the models, And basically, we maybe do some adjustments. Then we use like maybe interest theory, like apply some interest rates if we'd like to like do some shocks or sensitivities based on the baseline results. But usually all the tough calculations already in the models and we just click the button. Thank you.
Oh. Can you hear me? Are you able? Sure. Yes. Into an expert. That's a, that's a for most people. And I think that it's kind of months, years. Is that something is oh, the learning
and it can be frustrating for new people coming out of college. But I think what's good about working at an insurance company is everybody understands that that's the case, and people, you know, really invest a lot of time into making sure that you kind of get what you need to get caught up. So I would say I didn't really understand like the life insurance business until probably 2 years into my career as an actuary. But you get a piece of it, you know, you're working on a certain piece and you learn how your piece fits into the larger picture. But yeah, it's definitely, it's not like making like hamburgers, right? Where, you know, if you sell more hamburgers, the company is going to make more profit. It's a very complex business, I'd say. Anything to add, Alex, to that? You're closer to the start of your career, so.
Okay, yeah, I agree with Brandon, and just would like to add, like, aside from ADP program, company also provides webinars and courses, so you can expand your knowledge about insurance. Thank you.
Yeah, it's probably a good place to just plug. So Maggie mentioned that that's why we have a rotational program, right? So you have 2-year-long rotations to learn just one aspect, one job, one aspect of the business. And so most people, by the time they finish their exams, have done 2 or 3 rotations. And so by the time you're a fellow or you've completed your exams, that's when you are kind of expected to have mastered the breadth of knowledge that's needed for actuarial work and the profession.
a great question. Probably
Brandon, I tried to share the link and I may have taken over somehow.
oh, that's
Can you hear us, Maggie?
yours.
Yes,
Okay.
I don't see the presentation anymore, though. I put something in the chat box and I think, did I change the presentation?
I clicked on the link.
Oh, I see.
Oh, you clicked on the link. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you did it, I thought I messed things up.
No.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I shared the link. Thank you for opening it up, Ty. And it just shows various positions. We have some full-time openings. We have some internship openings. We're discussing the actuarial summer internship program today. So that's the top link, 3 locations: Woodland Hills, California, Houston, Texas, and Jersey City, New Jersey. But there are other internships as well. If any of your friends are interested in finance or ERM, there are other internships out there as well.
Excellent. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So exam passing, yes, I was not a first-time passer at all. I took many attempts to pass my exams. Alex may have had a different
Yeah,
experience.
actually, I'm a second time passer.
Yeah, here's the thing about
average.
actuarial exams. And a lot of people have to get used to this, especially if you're like a smart college student that's used to usually passing things on the first try, which I was. When people start taking actuarial exams, you typically will fail at least once over the course of your progression through the exams. And so that's something that is sometimes hard for people to grasp. It's kind of a different ball game, but yeah, like it's kind of normal to fail at some point along the way. Would be great if everybody passed on their first try, but not always the case.
That makes me the only person up here who has passed 100% of their actuary exams on the track.
Excellent.
I mean, one exam, but
That's good. That's excellent. You're the superstar.
Yeah.
That means you can answer other questions.
but also the least qualified.
Other questions? I know there's, how much time do we have?
Oh, you don't want this,
Okay. Oh, yes.
because not everybody's.
There's talk about an internship and bonuses and contingent bonuses. Did the internship pay?
The internship is paid, yes. And it's competitive pay. It's not, it's not bad pay at all. Yeah.
How different is your profession from the county?
I'm sorry.
How different is your profession from the county?
How different is our profession from accounting? Depends on your perspective. Like an actuary would say, we're way better than accountants and we're way smarter. And it's very different. I would say you might ask an accountant and they may say something different, but actuaries are very much involved in the analysis and interpretation of data and numbers, where accountants typically are kind of entering data and kind of processing data that somebody else has put together, data and numbers that somebody else has put together. Certainly at higher levels, accountants do some analysis of the numbers that they put together as well, but they're typically reporting numbers that somebody else has given them. Actuaries are looking at the numbers, interpreting the numbers, looking at the trends, understanding the story behind the numbers. So I would say we do more analysis. And then our skill set is specialized. So we learn things like life contingencies and financial mathematics to understand, we learn economics, and that's part of our required training. So it's quite a bit different in that regard. A lot of people would say we're, I don't know, highly paid accountants or something like that, but it's very different. I don't know. Any?
I agree.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Life insurance and economic statistics is not pure math. Yeah, other stuff, and model consideration. How much does you have to deal with ethical questions in your line of work? Is that largely relegated to regulations?
No. I mean, we deal with it quite a bit. So there's ethical training that we have to train. Some of the courses that Maggie mentioned as part of our actuarial, career development there. So at the end, when you get your associateship in the Society of Actuaries and when you get your fellowship, they call it an admissions course to the associateship and to the fellowship. And those courses cover kind of the ethical considerations that are required kind of at the base level of your work. Also in my role, all like a lot of my role is dealing with our legal department and kind of explaining some of the assumptions that we've made about our populations, or some of the the ways that we've credited money to our policyholders, to explain to them that it's fair, that we've considered all of our policyholders equitably and that kind of thing. So it's something that we deal with all the time. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna add, about the accounting thing, is that it's there's some very strong opinion accountants on the issue.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
apparently the higher level accountants don't do so much the data entry. They deal a lot more with the legal aspects because of the tax law changing every year, and it being the most legislated part of the United States legal system.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I think if you ask an accountant about an actuary and vice versa, you'll there's a lot of jokes about accountants and actuaries also, by the way. But, I won't.
Applying for the actuarial position. What attributes are important to the employer outside of passing one of the actuarial things, or just
Yeah, it's a good question, and maybe Maggie can chime in after. But I would say, so the basic thing that you need, like you said, is passing the exams, and that demonstrates that you have the technical ability to do the work, because the work is very technical in a lot of cases, and we need to be sure that you're able to do the technical work. What differentiates candidates and the things that we look for in addition to the exams are some of the soft skills that you hear about in any other profession. So communication. So like I said, a lot of times our actuaries are explaining very technical concepts to people who are not actuaries. And so the ability to communicate, things that are very technical in a way that makes sense to people who don't have the same training as you do, that type of thing is important as well. Just being able to work with people, because we work very collaboratively, quite a bit as well, is important for actuarial students. Some, I guess beyond just the exams, perhaps some exposure to or comfort with computer programming is also helpful. Maggie, have I missed anything?
Could you repeat the question? Sorry, I didn't.
Oh, sorry.
catch
I'm
on.
sorry. The question was beyond just the exam progress and the technical requirements, what other qualifications or what else do we look for in candidates?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so definitely you touched on a lot of them, Brandon. I would just add, being curious, during the time that you're with us. It's only 10 weeks and it goes by very quickly. So, making the most of that opportunity, trying to engage with others outside of your team, volunteering for things outside of your responsibilities, going the extra mile, trying to really gain as much from your 10 weeks with us as you can. That really will set you apart.
Sorry, the question is what kind of programming languages do we use? So SQL is or SQL is fairly common. So Visual Basic certainly is common. Visual Basic in Excel, to automate Excel. Anything else that's common that you can think of, Alex?
R code.
R, okay, R, yeah, statistical coding in R. I don't know R, so that's why I didn't mention it, but yeah.
Most students use Excel with VBA. It really depends on where you're placed for your assignment. To a smaller degree, I've seen some areas use Python, so that's a good one as well. But really, you don't need to have any one skill. If you have the basic knowledge with Excel and can make macros and things like that, that's usually enough. We don't expect you to have a lot of knowledge coming in as an intern. Most of the managers that have agreed to take on an intern realize that there is a certain amount of coaching and learning that needs to take place, especially in the first few weeks. So I think as long as you know some technical programming, you're good. You don't have to know multiple programming languages.
What other questions can we answer? Yeah.
So I have a question for, I guess, for the benefit of the students who are present and would be considering actuary hires. So you talked about that there's there are promotions after you pass the exams, and so when you talk to, or just after having gone through this process and then with other people in other professions that you speak to, how do you feel about that kind of model for advancement in career? Because obviously there's pressures involved with it, but there's also obvious pathways to advancement, which many professions maybe lack, including university.
Yeah. So just to repeat the question for Maggie and anybody else online, the question was about kind of the defined career path and promotions that come with the actuarial profession and how that, kind of compares to other professions. I think what you said is correct. So that's what attracted me to the profession. The fact that almost every company that you work for, and certainly is the case at Corebridge Financial, I still, every time I say Corebridge, I'm almost saying AIG, so I'm getting used to this as well. But certainly is the case for us. There's a very clear promotion path. Once you've passed a certain number of exams, you will be considered for promotion within the company. And typically when people finish the actuarial development program and finish their exams, they're in a position to start managing actuarial students, and then they're kind of in the pipeline for leadership positions within the company. And so that was very attractive to me. And I think that worked well for a lot of people because, it's not, so much a political, you don't have to kind of kiss up to the right people to get promoted, at least for those first few years of your career. There's some defined promotions, and I think that's attractive for a lot of people.
Yeah, I would just add it's really an executive training program. So, while you're going through the process of taking exams, because your goal is to become an actuary, you're also learning a lot. You're really increasing your technical knowledge, you're broadening your network, you're really applying what you're learning on the exams to your work. And it's really quite defined. So the entire time that you're a member of the ADP, you will definitely be looked at for promotions at the right time. So it's a combination of passing enough exams and having the right number of relevant years of work experience. So it's a two-step process, so no one gets left behind. I look at the whole pool of membership to see who's eligible. And then I work with the manager to make sure that the manager feels the student is ready. I don't have that daily interaction with students like the manager does. So the manager and I together will plan when people are ready to be promoted. And that opportunity comes up twice a year, which is unique too, because I think in most companies, you're only eligible for a review maybe once a year, if that. But being on this fast track program, it's a whole different animal. So you're treated differently than the rest of the employee population.
Yeah. Probably an important point to emphasize too, just like Maggie mentioned, and as we've mentioned throughout, just the career progression of actuaries. So we have defined when you pass an exam, you get a raise and or a bonus, right? And so starting salaries are not bad for actuaries, and also like the way that your salary increases as an actuary over time compared to other careers, a lot of times looks a lot better. Like you can look at the slope of an actuary's career salary, and it just goes up quickly because you have your exam related promotions, and then you have your merit-based promotions as well. And so it just, it's kind of attractive from that perspective too. Your salary increases pretty quickly. So. Do we hire data scientists? So I think that Corebridge probably hires data scientists. I'm not sure exactly which areas they work in. I guess particularly if you were to apply for the actuarial development program, we would expect you to be committed to the actuarial profession and to taking actuarial exams. So that's what the three of us that are here are familiar with, but I imagine there probably are roles for data scientists somewhere within Corebridge. I probably need to research that and find out where exactly they might end up working. I'm sure there are areas where they work. So.
Any last few questions we have for them? No?
No? No.
Okay, do that.
How much is the parking permit where you were?
The question is for Maggie, how much is the parking permit? Parking is free on our campus in Houston.
Yeah, I don't know if it's free in Jersey City, but it's free.
Yeah,
in
I think,
Houston.
yeah, I'm gonna say probably not so much, but in Houston, on our campus in Houston, it's free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He looks around at everybody like, did y'all catch that?
When I have to come over here and I pay to park, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. All right. Well, thank you all for the time. It's always a pleasure to come talk to you all. Thanks a lot. And I'm gonna hang around for a while. Also.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
Okay, so we have our UH alumni panel. Where do you guys want to sit? Well, probably at the front. Let me keep you around. Hold on. Okay.
Hold on.
I mean, everyone here can hear you, but whether or not they can hear you in here, I'm not sure.
Test again. No, like where's Andy?
Daniel's not hearing. There's only just.
Want to get up and punch you?
That's what I said. This thing is not, how long is it? How long is that? And then be careful with my camera.
Yeah.
Size, how long do we have?
I gotta check the schedule. But James, you messing up my thingy. So what we can do actually is unplug this camera. Right.
If it's just.
Yeah, but this is still a hybrid event, so the people online, whoever, I'm recording. But it's on that, isn't it? So-
That's what I'm saying. If you're just putting them on
Yeah.
that video online, then why do you need to display it in the room?
Yeah,
Right.
okay. Yeah, so just unplug, we'll take it, put it here, I guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna need to plug it back.
I'll
up,
let,
though,
I'll let
and
Richard,
then-
let it, let it face Richard. Alright. It's on Young and Jordan, awesome,
Okay.
sounds great,
Someone
y'all can keep turning it,
watching out for
okay. Alright, Ty, let us know when we run out of time, I'll just look to you,
Yeah,
it's okay for us to start?
yes, you can.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Alright, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for sticking around for our alumni panel. So what we're gonna do is I'll try to moderate, but I'll also introduce myself. So I'm Kayla Beacall. I'm currently a data scientist at ClearPoint Energy. I am not responsible if your lights go out, so please do not complain to me. I went to U of H for a bachelor's in mathematical biology, and then I continued on to do a master's and then eventually defended my PhD in 2019. The field that I came in from is numerical analysis. And so now I'm not doing numerical analysis, I'm a data scientist. So we'll comment more on that too. So what I'll do is I'll let each of the panelists introduce themselves. Try to follow a similar format because I think we have a short time. So tell us what degree you got from U of H, and then comment on like if there was a particular math field that you liked, that would be cool. And that's about it. So why don't you start, Richard?
Hey, everyone. Very happy to be here today. My name is Richard Walden. I'm a data scientist at USAA. I got my bachelor's, my master's, and a PhD here. When I was a student, I studied geometry. I was a pure math student.
No, that's good. Go ahead, Young.
Oh, so hello everyone. My name is Young Wen and wait, what was that? Oh, so I got my PhD from U of H, but I did my bachelor's at the University of North Texas, was also in mathematics and finance. So finance was my minor. What else? I graduated in the same year as those two, so we were friends. Right after graduation from U of H, I worked as a visiting assistant professor in Kalamazoo College in Michigan. So I just moved back here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jordan Chappell. I got my degree in mathematics here at the University of Houston in 2016. So currently I work at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise as a manager of data science and business intelligence. So I work under the subsidiary Aruba. So if you take a look at the top, U of H is one of our networking. So we do network trafficking and I manage all the data science and analytics for that.
Cool, thanks. So for this panel, what I'll do is I'm just gonna ask like a few questions just to get us started, and then we leave the rest to you, whatever you want to ask anyone up here. So just to start us off, for everybody here, in your jobs right out of school, were they directly related to your coursework or to your PhD? And if not, how difficult was the transition? What kind of skill sets carried over to help that transition? Really long question, so let me know if I can repeat it.
So I can go first. Actually, I didn't even know what to do with the math degree besides, the academics. So I think it was my senior year. Any seniors here?
Yeah.
So survey of mathematics, y'all taking that? Or they might have changed it, right? So I don't remember the Professor Almas. I don't know if she's still here, but she's the one that told me about actuary. So before I moved to HPE, I actually did actuarial science. So I took, what was it, three exams, passed 3 exams outside of college. And after that, that's when I transitioned to HPE. So some of the skills, I would say, linear algebra definitely helped, and I learned SQL as well. I know they don't have courses here. So we'll probably transition to that as well. That's definitely one of the languages you really need to learn. SQL, Python, R, that's really, really important for statistical analysis. And I kind of learned that like my last semester.
So I became, I worked as a visiting assistant professor, so more into the academic track instead of industry. So yes, it was like extremely related to my PhD. One thing that, because I did my bachelor's in math as well, and like I didn't know what I wanted to do. That's why I went into grad school. And also, don't do that. But so in grad school, I was also a pure math like Richard. But I learned how to use R for teaching statistics here at U of H, and that helped me landed my first job at Kalamazoo College. So definitely learn how to use R and Python, because those are the two languages that you're going to use if you are going into data analytics, or any job in the industry in that sector.
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's see. So my first job out of the university was as an operations researcher. And I worked at one of the national defense laboratories for the Department of Defense. The goal of there was to help inform senior military leaders on how to fight the battles 10, 15 years out. There were so many skills I did not have going into that job. The ones that translated directly were just not even like math. I mean, math skills was problem solving, trying to understand what the job wanted to do, what the expectation was of me, and then just use the skills that I learned here to solve the problems and produce solutions. It's pretty tough the first year, but you'll learn whether here or later all these skills: Excel, R, PowerPoint. I don't think I did PowerPoint in school, y'all. Once. I don't know if I made a slide. I used the tech.
That's
to
tech,
to
right?
make the slides, but you learn all those skills. Yeah, problem solving here, all the math and any majors. Yeah.
Do I need an answer too?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So it's funny that it's me and Jordan here, because we actually came to the meet and greet 2019 together, and I was in a different job than what I am now. So my first job out of finishing my PhD was I was an MIT postdoc, and I was based in Austin, and that postdoc carried into COVID, which made me realize I did not like doing research anymore, and I just wanted a stable job that made enough money. So I went into data science, and I was, my first position was Cisco, SYSCO, the food and beverage distribution. So I was there for maybe about 10 months. And to comment on how difficult was the transition, oh, it's super difficult. Like, you go from being a postdoc where it's just me and my advisor, and like, I don't have to worry about anyone. I'm just doing my work at my own pace. But when I transitioned to Cisco, oh my goodness, there were so many different people that I had to interact with. And it was hard to kind of like figure out who do I listen to? Because there's a lot of there's a lot of things coming in. Like, how do you prioritize? So I learned a lot about how to work in industry from that job. And then when I left Cisco, now at my job at Centerpoint, it really helped. Like, it wasn't as steep of a learning curve, because now it's my second try at doing data science. So moving to a next question, did you guys do any additional training or coursework after you graduated? Any like self-teaching or whatever? You can start wherever you want.
Yeah. So like I was saying earlier, I learned R, Python, and other languages on my own since there weren't any courses. So a lot of them were like YouTube, different forums, like literally going Google, how do I query a database? Oh, okay, and then somebody out there has a script, so then I would put that into, at the time, I would use SQL Server, put that in, take a data set, and then just kind of reiterate that until I figure out and understand what's kind of going on. And that's definitely, at least that works for me, right? Kind of fail hard, fail fast, where you just try different things. And really honestly, coming from a school where it's kind of like structured and they tell you kind of what to do. I remember whenever I got my first actuary job, they sat me down and they're like, okay, here's the computer. And then they just left, right? And I was just kind of sitting there, okay, what do I do? Right. And honestly, yeah, exactly. And then, you know, I would have different stakeholders where at the time where it was like the CFO and they're like, hey, we need this dashboard, we need this in Excel. And I just told you, like, I didn't know SQL, right? So I had to kind of figure it out on my own. And I would say the skills that, like a lot of people are focused on the hard skills, the technical skills. All of you already have that. But what sets you apart from other people are the soft skills. So communication, right? All the times that, I mean, I don't know if they still do it now. I know when I was in school, the professors were like, ask like, okay, here's a theorem, prove that, you know, there's infinitely many primes and prime numbers. So we would just kind of sit there and try to solve it. And then somebody would have to come up there and solve it, right? But a lot of people were just kind of scared, right? Or nervous that they, you know, that they might mess it up. And I just kind of just went up and just figured it out and really try to collaborate like how I am with you all and just try to talk it out and we can figure it out together. So what I'm trying to say is like there's teamwork, collaboration, and communication are like the key to like getting that next step position.
What was the question? Did you do any additional training or coursework or have you done any after you graduated, any additional coursework or training?
So, so at K in Kalamazoo, well, we had a statistician in our department. So for statistics courses, we're pretty rigorous on that. So we force students to learn how to use R Shiny to create dashboards. So if you can learn R Shiny, that will help you. I think it's sort of like a substitute for Tableau,
right,
as well. So you don't have to learn as many programming languages. So that was one thing that I was about to learn, using R, just like to sharpen my skills with R. That was another thing that I had to learn as I teach statistics courses. Another thing was I went through the Project Next training by the Mathematical Association of America. So they have a program for PhD and lecturers to learn pedagogical methods that we can use in the classrooms. And that was very helpful because when I was in the program, it was during the pandemic. It was right in the first year that we were in the pandemic, and that was in the summer, and in the fall, all of the classes went virtual. And so I was able to like put everything together that I learned from the program into action. So my course for Calculus 1, the students were not as lost when they progressed into Calculus 2. So that was like a success for me.
Additional training?
The training never stops. You're gonna take courses and learn stuff nonstop. I've taken a lot of courses, whether it's on YouTube or formal courses to learn how to query. You know, you'll have to learn new techniques, methods. A lot of the times you'll go to Google, see what people tried, and then try to apply it to your project. And then you'll just keep on having to learn. So yes, I've taken many courses.
You did a certificate, didn't you? Sorry, I creeped.
Yeah, I mean, you get all kinds of certifications.
Oh.
I mean, most companies that you'll go to, they will invest in your continuous education.
Yeah.
You should take advantage of that. It will not only help you in your job, but it'll help you in the future as well. So, yeah, and then in addition to all that, you'll take a bunch of sexual harassment courses, equal opportunity courses. You're gonna take a course all the time. I have courses that I have to do every 3 months. I have to do with now in banking, regulations, laws. And yeah.
Nope, echoing everything everyone said, learning doesn't stop. I'm actually taking a course right now that is paid for by my employer in machine learning. It's like through Stanford's AI professional program. It's like a 3-class thing, but the learning doesn't stop. So just because you graduated does not mean you have everything you need in your mind to like do your job. You still have to always keep learning.
Can I add something real
Yes,
quick?
go ahead, George.
So I know there's data scientists that y'all are interested in and data analysts, like data analytics, but not a lot of people know about data engineering.
Yeah.
So I would suggest, and if you go on to like Azure, right, you can be an Azure data engineer, which I've taken the certifications for that, and it's completely free to learn, right? And then the courses are free. The exam is maybe like $100, but once you get the certification, you can apply to like Azure or even HP. We have our own data engineers as well. I oversee that as well. So definitely look into that. It's heavy SQL, heavy. So it's like, you know, where you take like an on-premise database, like information and records, and you moved it to the cloud, right? And you can get paid really well for that. And they really just need people to kind of learn it, right? There's more supply. Well, there's more demand than supply for like, you know, for the positions. Actually, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably a position that flies underneath the radar in data science, right?
Right.
Data engineering for sure.
Right, because they're the bridge, right? You have like your data scientists that do the analytics and machine learning, but there's people before that that built the foundation of the data architecture, created APIs from the sources, structured data, unstructured data, like, you know, marketing data, or even like when you go on Amazon, whenever they have like recommendations, that's like NoSQL, right? That's another language you should learn. It's unstructured JSON files, Parquet files as well that can be unstructured. So you should definitely learn that as well.
It's like coding where they have back end, front end,
Yes.
and actual material being presented.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like the bridge, right? Because so they're the bridge between the source and like the data scientists. So the data scientist says, hey, can you structure the data like this? And they go back and they might code it in C# or they might code it in SQL, or they can code it in Python too. So just, you know, you have like your tool set and you just kind of figure out whatever questions that need to be answered. That's what language that you use, and, you know, you tailor the code as needed.
I think we only have 3 minutes.
My bad. Any questions? You can't extend it for a few minutes?
Well,
Like
because we, I
Yeah.
mean, maybe
Because they
five.
have
Maybe five.
Because we have another
Yeah, it's been
speaker
someone
that
after us.
has to
Yeah,
speak for maybe 20.
somebody got a question or something? Because we can go on for hours.
Yeah, we
right?
definitely
Like I
can.
Yeah.
So, for someone to start out and learn anything on their own, like, where would you recommend that, I take a credential on, like, Coursera, Udemy, or which one would like
Udemy.
interest the most?
Udemy's good. So through HP, they pay the employees to take like courses. So that's a good one. LinkedIn has some as well that are free. Some of them are paid, and the company pays for that too. So
I will add to, like, not just take the courses, but
Yeah.
try to do a project on your own.
Yeah.
Like, pick something you're interested in. Like, don't follow recipes, because everyone's got recipes like on their
Yeah.
GitHub. They all follow the same. And then I have data set, the handwritten things. Pick something you're interested in and do a project on that. Because then when you step into that interview, you've got something that you're passionate about, and they'll feel that in the
Yep.
interview.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
keep note of that. You wanna add?
Yeah, I guess just echoing, okay. You know, if the certification is important to you, then find one of the outlets that'll give you a certification. you know, or I guess I would advise, try to find either a YouTube video, GitHub or GitLab repository where you can actually follow the scripts and you can retain that information. Because when you do, you will be able to address the problems that you'll come up against. They'll be confusing, you'll be lost, you know, and you'll really need that assurance from the knowledge that you gained from whatever source that you choose. Yeah, that'll be super important when you go and tackle these problems.
Any other questions?
Which is more important, academic project or personal project?
What do you mean personal project? Just like on your own? I mean, if you're going into, I don't know, into data scientists and all that, I would probably say personal. You just kind of find, kind of like what Kayla was saying, you find what you're interested in. And then there's plenty of sources, code, it's, you know, you can go to GitHub, GitLab, you can just go into different forums. Even Microsoft has some data dumps that you can just kind of take, and then you just tackle it, right? You might not understand the code, you're going to get confused, right? But that's the whole point. And as you keep iterating that, you'll eventually kind of figure it out and understand it. So I'll say personal.
Do you know any specific site where I could like look into to see examples to do my project?
Wait, what?
So who?
Kaggle, yes.
Oh, okay.
Kaggle's
Yeah. I heard
Kaggle's good. Yeah.
Kaggle.
So at K, we have something called the senior project. So it's a mandatory, I think it's equivalent to your capstone. So when I was an undergrad, we also need to do a capstone project. It was an academic project, but it's a big project. It took like a whole term to do it. For K students, it took them a whole term, so that's 10 weeks, plus or minus the summer. So some of them needed the summer to complete it. It's personal, but it counted towards your degree. So in your classes where there are more like applied or projects, you can put some personal touch into it if you can choose the topic. Because I know one student did some environmental project using R Shiny. So she created a dashboard for the electric consumption for all of the dorms around campus. So that forced her to work with some of the departments around campus to gather the data and code it in R and created a dashboard. So I think from the industry perspective, that is personal and it's still like very technical as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think with that, we're going to end here for the next speaker, but we are all on LinkedIn. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
This